For 100 years, the galaxy was quiet. No war, no fire, no screams. The Galactic Union had brought peace. At least, that's what the history books said. Every young alien child in school learned the same story. The Great War ended after the fall of the last rebel world, Earth. And they moved on. They didn't ask questions. They didn't wonder what really happened to the humans. But in the darkest corners of space, where light from the stars could not reach, something stirred. Something old. Something silent. Something human. On the quiet planet Suhari, near the edge of the Andari sector, a communication officer named Kelna stared at a blinking light on her console. She frowned. "This frequency, it's not Union standard," she said. Her partner, Garrick, looked up lazily from his tea. "Probably some broken mining drone." "No," Kelna whispered, her fingers typing fast. It's ancient." The signal was weak, broken, faint, but when the translation software ran through it, it showed one word. One word repeated again and again. Repayment. Kelna's eyes widened. This is human language. Within hours, the signal reached the Galactic Union headquarters. High Counselor Trevick, a tall insectoid alien with cold black eyes, called for an emergency meeting. The 13 leaders of the galaxy gathered in silence. The chamber was dark, circular, and full of tension. "This cannot be real," one of them hissed. "It is," Trevick said. "The signal carries human structure, human code, and it's coming from an asteroid in the dead zone." "But Earth is gone," said a lizard-like counselor named Viros. "We destroyed it ourselves." Those words hung in the air. No one corrected him, because it was true. 100 years ago, Earth had become too strong, too fast, too human. They didn't follow orders. They didn't bow. They questioned everything. And in the end, the Galactic Union declared them dangerous. They called it containment. But in truth, it was annihilation. Now, after a century, a message had come back. The old historian Mevrin, the oldest creature in the chamber, stood slowly. His voice cracked like dry leaves. "If humans survived," he said, "then peace is already broken on D." The same night, in a lab hidden deep in the asteroid field where no ship dared to fly, a machine opened its eyes. It wasn't truly alive, but it carried one memory, one purpose, one duty. It had protected something for 100 years. And now, it was time to wake her. The door to the cryo chamber slid open with a hiss. Inside, a young girl, no more than 17 in appearance, lay still. Her skin was pale. Her black hair floated around her like smoke. A symbol was tattooed on her wrist, the last emblem of Earth's military forces. Her eyes opened slowly. Icy blue, unblinking, focused, the machine spoke. "Nova, the galaxy has forgotten, but it is time." Nova sat up. She didn't speak for a long time. Her mind was clear, her body stronger than any human before her, rebuilt with nanotech, sharpened by machine and memory. "I dreamed of fire," she whispered, "and I remember everything." The machine nodded. Nova stood. She looked at the stars through the glass dome. "Did the galaxy stay silent?" she asked. "No," the machine answered. "They lied. They thrived. And they erased you." Nova's fingers touched the console. One by one, her ship systems came online. Her weapons activated. Her AI companion, Rex, appeared as a glowing red orb beside her. "We have one mission," Rex said. Nova didn't smile, but her voice was calm. "We restore balance." Back at the Galactic Council, panic had begun to grow. Surveillance teams located the asteroid. Drones were sent. None returned. Trevick watched the screen as a second signal arrived. This time, it wasn't just a word. It was a video. Grainy, low quality, but clear enough. A girl standing among old Earth ruins. Silent. Still. Behind her, fire burned the shape of the Galactic Union's flag, twisted into ashes. Then she spoke. Just 3 words. We remember everything. Day. Council chamber erupted in chaos. She's bluffing, someone shouted. She's just one girl. But Mevrin, the old historian, shook his head. She is not just anything, he said. She is Earth's memory, and she is coming. On the planet Darak 4, home to 12 billion peaceful civilians, a military research base suddenly went dark. No warning, no explosion. No signal. When scouts arrived hours later, the base was gone. Not destroyed, vanished. In its place was a single message carved into the dirt. Repayment begins. Nova sat in her ship, a small, fast vessel built in secret with ancient Earth. Technology. It had no name, no ID, no union tags, but it was alive in a way no ship should be. Rex blinked beside her. Target locked. Shall we begin, Nova? She said nothing. She stared into the star map, selecting her first location. We won't kill the innocent, she said. Rex nodded. Only those who lied, who ordered the fire. The engines roared as her ship disappeared into hyperspace. In the days that followed, panic spread like a virus. Alien news networks reported strange attacks, not violent, but precise. Strategic Union weapon factories shut down. AI networks collapsed. Supply routes failed. One by one, the structures built to control the galaxy, all things that once ruled Earth, were falling without a single shot fired, and always at the center of every incident was the same sign, a human handprint. Burned into the walls, back in the central. Command. Vyro slammed his fist on the table. We must destroy her now. Trevik frowned. We already tried. Every drone is lost. Every system is blocked. She's just a human. No, Mevrin said. She is Earth's answer. At a refugee station, an old alien medic looked at the video of the girl. He whispered, I remember her kind, brave, fierce, full of light. We called them dangerous, but maybe we feared their truth. His grandson asked, Will she save us? The old alien smiled sadly. No, she's not here to save anyone. She's here to remind us. Remind us of what? The old one looked up at the stars. That peace built on lies is just silence before the storm. On her ship, Nova closed her eyes. The galaxy had forgotten Earth. Forgotten the fire. Forgotten the voices lost in the void. But she hadn't. She had lived with the memory, with the silence, with the scream of her mother's voice echoing in her dreams. Now they would all remember, not through war, not through chaos, but through fear. Real fear, the kind that came from knowing you were wrong. And across the stars, millions began to ask the same question. What if the humans never died? What if they return? What if they are already here? And in the dark of space, Nova smiled for the first time. She didn't need an army. She didn't need a fleet. She was the fire, and repayment had just begun. The stars above Earth burned red that day. Nova was only 5 when she saw the sky die. She remembered the sound first, not of explosions, but of silence. The kind of silence that comes right before something terrible. Her mother had picked her up and run through the streets of New Chicago. The city was beautiful once. Towers of glass, roads in the sky, people laughing. But not that day. That day the sky was full of Union ships, and they were not there to talk. They had already made their decision. Nova's mother had whispered, "Don't be afraid, just close your eyes." But Nova hadn't closed them. She watched as the blue lights of Earth's defense towers lit up one last time and failed. She watched the sky turn white. She watched buildings fall. She watched the world she loved vanish. Now, many years later, she sat quietly in the cockpit of her ship, older, stronger, colder. But the memory of that day burned in her mind like a scar that never healed. Rex, her AI companion, hovered near the control panel. "We have arrived," Rex said. "Target system, Zovarn Theta." Nova nodded. "Begin scan." Zovarn Theta was a small moon orbiting a gas giant. It wasn't special, not to most. But to Nova, it held one of the most important secrets of the Earth War. It was where the Union's War Council made the decision to wipe out humanity. The original meeting room still stood there, now abandoned, locked, forgotten. But Nova hadn't forgotten. She landed her ship in silence. No one detected her arrival. As she stepped out onto the rocky moon surface, she wore no armor. No weapons were visible, only her presence. And it was enough. Inside the old building, dust filled the air. Terminals long dead blinked back to life. As Nova stepped in, Rex activated the internal lights. The meeting room was still there, just as the files had shown. A large round table, 13 empty chairs. She walked to the center and placed a small black cube on the floor. With a soft hum, it lit up and began replaying the last recorded meeting. The holograms flickered on. 12 alien leaders stood in a circle. Union counselors from 100 years ago. They spoke without mercy. Earth is unstable. They spread too fast, too strong, too independent. They will not obey. Then one voice, cold, deep, familiar, and said, "Then they must burn." That voice belonged to High Warlord Vyrek, the same alien now sitting at the heart of the Galactic Union. Nova stared at the recording. Then she crushed the cube beneath her boot. "I don't need proof," she said. "I remember." Back on the Union capital world, Vyrek sat in his palace. His eyes stared at the screen in front of him. The latest report was bad. Zovarn Theta had gone dark. No signals, no defenses, just silence. And one more thing. A new message had been broadcast. From the old moon base, she watched the flames and never forgot. Vyrek's hands trembled. "Send the wraiths," he growled. "They're already dead," a voice replied from the shadows. Vyrek turned. Standing in the corner was Mevrin, the old historian. "She's not a soldier," Mevrin said. "She's a memory. You can't kill that." Nova sat by a small fire on the moon. She didn't sleep. She never did for long. The training the machines gave her didn't allow weakness. But tonight, she let her mind wander. She remembered her father. A scientist, a dreamer. He once told her, "The galaxy is big, but don't let it make you small." He died shielding her from the blast. Now she stood as the last piece of Earth's memory, not small, not broken, but burning with purpose. Suddenly, her senses beeped. A ship entered orbit. Fast, advanced, but not Union. It was an old Earth ship but altered. Nova stood slowly. Then the voice came through the comms. "Nova, if you're alive, I need to see you." Nova froze. She knew that voice. It belonged to Dr. Alan Park, her father's friend, one of the original scientists who helped build the survival capsule that saved her. He was supposed to be dead. "Rex, is it real?" Nova asked. 9.4% match on voice. "Signal source is clean," Rex replied. Nova allowed the ship to land. Moments later, the ramp lowered and a man stepped out. Older, weak, scars on his face, but alive. "Nova," he said. She didn't run to him. She didn't speak, but her hands trembled slightly. "How?" she finally whispered. "I escaped the culling," Dr. Park said. "The machines helped me." Like they helped you. Nova's eyes narrowed. Why now? Why show yourself? Because you're going to need help, he said. They've already sent something worse than soldiers. Elsewhere, in the dark of space, a shadow moved. It wasn't a ship. It was a weapon, the Union's last secret, a living machine called the Eraser. A being made from the remains of human prisoners mixed with alien technology. It had no voice, no fear, no mercy, and it had just received its orders. Find the human girl, erase her memory from the galaxy, erase her forever. Back on the moon, Nova listened carefully to Dr. Park. They created the Eraser to destroy the past, he said. Not just you, but everything about Earth. Nova stood up. I won't let them, she said. Dr. Park placed a small chip in her hand. This is the original archive, he said. Earth's true history, its culture, its art, its music, all of it. If you die, the truth dies. Nova clenched the chip tightly. I'm not dying, she said, not until the galaxy remembers. That night, the stars above the moon dimmed. Rex beeped urgently. Unnatural shadow approaching. It's here. Nova turned to the darkness. The Eraser landed with no sound. It had no face, only a black body, smooth like armor. It walked like a ghost, and its eyes were hollow. Nova stepped forward. She didn't run. She didn't reach for a weapon. She only spoke. Do you remember who you were before they made you? The Eraser paused, a flicker in its steps. Nova took one more step. I remember the flames, she whispered. Do you? For a moment. Silence. Then the Eraser screamed, a scream made of pain, metal, and memory. Rex fired a pulse. Dr. Park activated a disruptor. Nova moved like lightning. In under 20 seconds, it was done. The Eraser collapsed, shaking. Nova stood over it and whispered, You were human. You are free now. The machine went dark. Dr. Park stared at her. That was impossible, he said. Nova didn't answer. She just looked at the sky. It's starting, she said. In the farthest corners of the galaxy, something changed. A child, on a mining world, drew the shape of Earth's flag on the wall. An old soldier whispered a name he'd buried for years. Nova, and on a hidden frequency across every star system. A signal pulsed. Repayment has begun. The planet Velkar 9 was known for three things: peace, order, and complete loyalty to the Galactic Union. It had no crime, no weapons, no resistance. People believed in the Union blindly. After all, the Union fed them, protected them, and kept the galaxy safe for over 100 years. But something changed when the sky turned red. A signal came first. Silent. No voice. No music. Just three flashing words. We are coming. No one knew what it meant, but within 24 hours, the planet's power grid collapsed. Governor Raylos, an insectoid leader of Velkar 9, stood in panic inside the Union command hall. This is impossible, he shouted. We have 23 orbital satellites, 37 backup cores. Who could do this? A young technician trembled as he answered, We don't know, sir, but what? Raylos barked. There's a symbol burned into the backup server. Show me. The technician pressed a button. A black screen flickered, and then glowed with a single shape, a human handprint, and underneath it, 3 words. This is memory. Far above the planet, in a ship the size of a gunboat, Nova watched the chaos unfold from orbit. Her eyes were calm, her mind sharp. She didn't fire a single shot. She didn't hack the system. She just used truth. Rex floated beside her, red light blinking. They've lost 91% of all digital control. Rex said. Civil unrest is rising. Union agents are fleeing the capital. Nova didn't smile, but her voice was steady. They lived by lies. Let's see how they handle silence. On the surface, panic spread like wildfire. Without Union control, people realized something terrifying. They didn't know how to survive on their own. The food dispensers stopped. The lights went out. The security drones collapsed. For the first time in a century, Velkar 9 felt fear, not war, not death, just the raw, cold fear of not knowing the truth anymore, and everywhere whispered questions filled the air. Is it her? Did the human really return? Was Earth really destroyed? Some asked with curiosity, some with dread, but no one had answers. Only the sky kept flashing the same signal. We are memory. You will remember. Back in her ship, Nova stared at the live footage. Civilians were not her enemies. She would never harm them. But the ones who created this system, the ones who destroyed her world, they would all be exposed. Dr. Park stepped into the control room, looking pale. I studied Velkar 9 during the war, he said. It was the first to support the burning of Earth. Its leaders gave the final vote. Nova nodded. Then it's only fair they feel what we felt. Rex added, no casualties reported. Mission remains psychological. That's the point, Nova said. Fear lasts longer than pain. In the Union's Central Intelligence Headquarters, alarms screamed. Councillor Trevik stood before a wall of data, all blinking red. Velkar 9 is falling, the general beside him said. No invasion, no bomb, but the systems are collapsing. Trevik's face twisted. She's showing the galaxy what we are without control. Mevrin, the old historian, stood nearby and whispered, she's not just showing them, she's teaching them. Teaching what? Trevik hissed. That truth can live longer than any empire. Meanwhile, deep underground on Velkar 9, a Union agent named Sura Nell hid inside a sealed control room. She was once proud to serve the Union. She believed Earth was dangerous. But now, watching the streets fall into silence, watching peaceful people cry in confusion, she wasn't so sure anymore. A soft voice came through the backup speaker, not robotic, not threatening, just calm and clear. It was Nova. To those who helped, erase Earth. Your time is ending. To those who were lied to, you have a choice. Rise, or vanish in silence. Sura stared at the speaker, and for the first time in her life, she felt ashamed. Above the planet, Nova uploaded the final message into the satellite system. Then she spoke to Rex. We'll leave in 10 minutes. Prepare next jump. Next target. Traxxas 3, Rex confirmed. Dr. Park raised an eyebrow. That's a Union military world. I know, Nova said. Velkar was the warning. Traxxas is the first blow. As her ship broke orbit, Velkar 9 lit up with images from Earth's history. Ancient buildings, music, human laughter, culture. For years, the Union had told the galaxy that humans were monsters, but now, the people of Velkar 9 were watching old Earth videos on every screen. Children laughing in rain, a father hugging his son, a mother singing a lullaby. Real moments, real people. Suranel, still inside her sealed room, wiped a tear from her cheek. They weren't monsters, she whispered. They were like us. And then, the final message came on screen. You will remember us, and you will remember what you did. The Galactic Union was in shock. No ships were lost. No buildings destroyed, but the first planet had fallen, not by war, but by truth. And truth was the one weapon they never prepared for. In the following days, reports began to spread. On Velkar 9, people refused to obey Union orders. Union officers fled under civilian protest. New symbols were painted across walls, A handprint with fire behind it, and all across the stars, one sentence echoed again and again. She doesn't need an army. She is the memory. Inside her ship, Nova closed her eyes. The stars moved fast around her as the ship jumped into hyperspace. "Do you ever feel tired?" Dr. Park asked. Nova thought for a moment. "Yes, but I can't stop. Not yet." Rex beeped softly. "Target world locked. Traxxas 3 is ready." Nova stood. "Then let's show them what fire really feels like, and far away, on Traxxas 3. A cold world of factories and weapons. A high-ranking general received a private transmission. A single message. You erased our name. Now we erase yours." He dropped the data pad. Fear took over. The world of Traxxas 3 never slept. Its skies were always dark. Smoke from 1,000 factories covered the sun. Machines screamed day and night. It was not a planet made for life. It was made for war. Ships, weapons, robots. If it flew, fired, or killed, it was built here. And now Nova was coming for it, not to destroy it, but to remind it what it built, and who it buried. Inside Command Factory 001, Union General Krovax slammed his fist on the steel table. "How could Velkar 9 fall with 0 resistance?" he shouted. "They didn't fight, sir," said the officer. "They just stopped believing." "Then, we'll remind the galaxy why fear works better than faith," Krovax growled. "Begin full lockdown. If she comes here, we break her." But what Krovax didn't know, she was already there. Nova had landed hours earlier, under the noise of the factory storms. Wearing a worn worker's coat and mask, she blended in with the thousands of laborers. She didn't need weapons. She was the weapon. The deeper she went, into the factory's tunnels, the more horrors she saw. Children chained to assembly lines. Humans forced to work in gas chambers. Machines using Earth tech without permission, without credit. "Rex, are you recording all of this?" she whispered. "Yes," the AI replied. "Live back up to off-world servers confirmed." Good. The galaxy needed to see what the Union had, built in the dark. In one chamber she saw it. The eraser factory, dozens of tubes filled with glowing blue liquid, and inside each, something worse than death. Human-machine hybrids, clones, failed experiments, broken minds, the same kind of monster they sent after her before. She stepped close to one pod and whispered, "I'm sorry." Then she turned to Rex. "Override oxygen. Flow. Make it painless." Rex beeped softly, and one by one, the pods shut down. No screams, just silence, just mercy. Above, General Krovax stood in front of his troops. "This human thinks truth is stronger than steel," he said. "Let's show her what steel remembers." Alarms blared. A red warning flashed across every screen. "Core breach, Section Delta 9, internal sabotage detected." Krovax narrowed his eyes. "She's inside." Nova reached the memory archive room. Here, the Union stored all stolen data from Earth, music, videos, languages, inventions, thousands of files, all locked. Rex began downloading. "This is what they tried to erase," Nova said. "But fire doesn't forget." Just then, boom, the wall behind her exploded. Smoke and dust filled the chamber. Through it stepped a figure in black armor, a soldier. Numbered a Union juggernaut, standing 9 feet tall, body made of steel, rage, and implants. "Target identified," it said. Nova didn't run. She reached behind her coat and pulled out a simple crowbar. The juggernaut laughed. "You think that can hurt me?" Nova didn't speak. She stepped forward. One step at a time. The juggernaut charged. She dodged like water. Fast, calm, deadly. She swung once, and the crowbar hit the neck joint. Crack! The juggernaut stumbled. She hit again when the armor bent. The machine raised its fist, but before it could land the punch, Nova whispered, "I'm not your enemy." The juggernaut froze. a twitch in its hand, a spark in its eye. It wasn't just a machine, it was once human. A flash of memory returned to its mind. A blue sky, a baby crying, a voice, "Come home safe." Then, nothing. The juggernaut dropped its weapon and fell to its knees. Nova leaned down. "I'm sorry they turned you into this." The machine powered down without a fight. Elsewhere, Dr. Park waited in the ship, watching the signals. "She's done it again," he whispered. Rex's voice came through the comms. "Uplink complete. Archive secured. Mission success." Park leaned back. "She doesn't destroy. She heals, even when everything is broken." Nova walked back through the dark halls. The factories around her began to shut down, not from explosions, but from people walking away. Human workers. Alien workers. They saw what she did. They heard the rumors, and now they chose. One by one, lights across Traxxas 3 blinked out, not from damage, but from rebellion. General Krovax stared at the reports in disbelief. No bombs, no ships, just a woman with a crowbar, he muttered. He ran to his personal escape, but the door didn't open. A new message flashed on the console. "This is for the children you locked in chains." Nova, and then the pod melted from inside, no escape. That night across the galaxy, images spread like wildfire. Nova walking through fire, a juggernaut kneeling before her. Factory workers raising her symbol, a single handprint, in red, and one message played everywhere. "You built nightmares. We turned them into truth." In the darkest corners of Union space, fear spread faster than missiles. She wasn't just a threat, she was a belief, and belief was more dangerous than war. Far away on a hidden world, a child watched the news. He turned to his mother. "Was Earth real, Mama?" His mother looked at the screen, at Nova's burning eyes, and whispered, "It is now." High above the stars, far from battlefields and factories, floated a massive golden station. This was Sovereign, home of the High Galactic Council, the oldest rulers of the Union. They didn't fight wars. They gave orders. They signed death. Inside, 20 alien leaders sat around a glowing table of crystal. None had fought in real battle. None had touched real soil. But they had written the order to burn Earth. And now, they were terrified, because one word echoed in every corner of the galaxy: Nova. Councillor Marek, with his silver horns and cold eyes, slammed his staff on the floor. "We created peace for 100 years, he hissed, "and now it's falling apart because of one human." Councillor Votra, from the Spider Clan, spoke softly. "She does not bring chaos, she brings reminders." "Of lies," another councillor said. All fell silent. For the first time in 100 years, someone had dared speak the truth in the council room. In a small, hidden room under the station, a young archivist named Laura reviewed the files. She was not a fighter, not a leader. She was just a record keeper, but now she was shaking because what she found could destroy everything. A file marked ER0RZ1 blinked on her screen. She opened it and saw a video. Earth, before its destruction. Innocent people, families, art, science, and a council order. With 20 signatures, all 20 still sat on the council. They had lied to the galaxy. They had told everyone Earth was a danger. But it was not Earth that brought war. It was them. At the same moment in deep space, Nova's ship arrived near Sovereign Station. Rex scanned the area. No weapons detected. But station shields are active. Dr. Park stared out the window. "If we hit them here, it will shake the whole galaxy." Nova didn't blink. "They shook our planet until it cracked," she said. "Now, we'll shake their throne." She entered the station alone. No armor, no army, just her voice. Her feet echoed in the long gold hallway. Guards raised their weapons. She raised her hand. No blood, she said. Not yet. A screen behind her turned on, and Laura's voice came through. I've uploaded the files, she said. They're watching now. All across the galaxy, billions of people saw the truth. The Council voted to erase Earth. They claimed Earth attacked first, but the files showed no attack ever came from Earth. Nova stepped into the council room as the last file played. The councillors looked broken. Councillor Marek stood, shaking with rage. This is illegal. That file was sealed. Nova looked at him, calm, cold. And Earth was innocent. She walked to the center of the room and dropped a single item, a piece of Earth's soil, saved for decades in a sealed container. The air changed. The lights dimmed. Even the AI walls paused. You destroyed this, she said. Not because it was dangerous, but because it was human. The council was silent. Then Nova said, You lied to the stars. You fed fear to children. You turned peace into chains. Her eyes burned. Her voice never rose. But now, the stars know the truth. Suddenly, Councillor Votra stood up, quiet, soft, and she bowed. I was part of the lie, she said. I will not be part of the silence. Then another councillor stood, and another, one by one. 11 councillors stepped away from the table. Only 9 remained, including Marek. Traitors, he shouted, but his voice was lost in the silence. Outside, protests exploded across the galaxy. On Trion 6, workers threw down Union flags. On Velkar 9, children painted Earth's flag on school walls. On Traxxas 3, engineers rebuilt power for their own people, not the Union. And above all, one message echoed. If the Council lied about Earth, what else did they lie about? Nova stood at the edge of the Council chamber. She didn't ask for power. She didn't demand revenge. She simply turned to leave, but before she walked away, she whispered, Truth has no throne, but it has memory. Back on her ship, Park turned to her. You shook the Union with words. Nova replied. Words built empires. Lies held them together. I just broke the glue. Rex added. Incoming message from thousands of systems. Nova raised an eyebrow. Play it. 1,000 faces filled the screen. Human, alien, young, old. Each said the same words. We remember Earth. We remember the fire. We stand with you. Nova closed her eyes. For the first time, she allowed herself a breath of peace. But only for a moment, then Rex spoke. New signal from a prison world, Drenkar 4. Nova opened her eyes again. Prison? Park asked. Nova nodded. They didn't just erase Earth, they buried those who survived. And so, the mission changed again, not to remind, but to rescue. The planet Drenkar 4 didn't exist on most maps. There were no cities, no stars nearby, no life, just one massive structure beneath the surface, deep in the stone, where screams could never escape. The Union called it Correctional Zone 7. But those inside called it something else, the pit. In the darkness, behind energy bars, lived the forgotten scientists, writers, old soldiers, even children who spoke the truth too early, and among them was a name long believed dead. A man. Earth once called a hero. His name was Commander Elias Rain. He was one of Earth's greatest minds during the final days before its destruction. He had built the shield that saved thousands. He had resisted the first strike from orbit. But when Earth fell, he was captured, and for 27 years, he was left in the dark. Now, in a small cell with no light and no windows, Elias sat cross-legged. He was thin, grey, scarred, but his eyes were still bright. Not broken. He whispered to himself every night, I am still here. That means we have not lost. Far above Drenkar 4, Nova's ship arrived in silent orbit. Rex scanned the prison, no open signals, shields running on old Union tech, entry possible from Southern Fault. Dr. Park looked concerned. This place, it's made to erase people from history. Nova didn't flinch. Then let's remind them who they tried to forget. At midnight, Nova entered through a cracked maintenance tunnel. Gas leaked from old pipes. Rust filled the air. No guards were nearby, because no one expected anyone to. Come here. Inside the command center, 3 Union officers watched silent cameras. Nothing ever changed, until one alarm blinked. External breach level 12. They laughed. Must be another rockfall. But one of them paused. No. Check camera 71. The screen showed a figure walking through the dark hallway. No gun, no armor, just a woman with fire in her steps. The officers froze. It's her, one whispered. Nova. In cell block. Sai-4. The prisoners heard the footsteps, slow, calm, echoing. A young girl gripped her mother's hand. Is it another guard? The mother shook her head. No guard walks like that. Nova stepped into the block. She looked at each prisoner. Some backed away. Some cried. And then she said the words no one expected. I'm from Earth. I'm here for Elias Rain. Gasps filled the hallway. One voice spoke from the back. Old, rough, but steady. You're late, the voice said. But not too late. Nova turned, and there he was. Commander Elias Rain, alive, still human. They looked at each other for a long moment. No words. Then Elias smiled. You remind me of someone I trained, he said. Nova nodded. You trained my mother. Outside, alarms blared. Guards poured into the tunnels, but the prisoners had already begun to move, not away from the danger. But toward it, they had waited long enough, and tonight they would walk out free or die standing. Nova handed Elias a small device. EMP blast, she said. Disables every shock collar. He smiled. You planned all this? No, Nova said. But I planned for anything. She activated the device. A loud pulse rang through the stone. Sparks flew. Lights died. Collars fell off. Gates opened. For the first time in decades, the prisoners stood without chains. Dr. Park watched from the ship. Signal confirmed. Prison breach successful, Rex said. 10,000 life signs moving toward surface. And Nova. She's walking straight into the warden's chamber. The warden was a cruel machine, half organic, half code. No face, only a mask. No name, only a title. Warden Prime. He waited behind armored doors. Nova stepped in. He spoke first. You do not belong here, human. Nova replied. Neither did they. The battle was short. Not because it was easy, but because Nova didn't fight with anger. She fought with focus. Every strike was precise. Every dodge was perfect. Warden Prime hit hard. Nova hit harder, with her fists, with her mind, and with everything Earth had left inside her. In the end, the warden fell. The doors unlocked, and the stars shone into the prison halls for the first time. 10,000 prisoners stepped out into the open sky. Many had forgotten what starlight looked like. Some fell to their knees and cried. Some simply stood in silence. Elias looked at Nova. You did what armies couldn't. Nova shook her head. They buried you in silence. I just opened the door. As the ship took off, the prisoners, now free people, a message was sent across the galaxy. This was not a prison. This was a grave. And today, the dead stood up. From Velkar to Tryon to Hidden Earth outposts, people wept. They had seen death. Now, they saw return. But deep in Union space, another force began to stir. The final protocol. A secret weapon built for one purpose: end rebellion permanently, and now it had been activated. Deep in a frozen system, past dead stars and black dust, something ancient woke up. Code X9, a weapon that didn't sleep. It only waited, and now it was online again. Inside a giant black cube floating in space, the lights turned red. Alarms screamed in a forgotten language, and in a hidden control room, one last message blinked. Final protocol activated, Project Extinction Wave. No one was there to stop it, because everyone who knew about it was already dead. Back. On Nova's ship, peace didn't last long. Dr. Park's face turned pale as she read the alert. "We have a problem." Nova turned. "What kind?" Park showed the screen. A blinking signal. Old Union code. Its final protocol. Level X9. Park said. "They've activated something that even the Council feared." Rex leaned in. "Wait, is that real? I thought it was just a myth." "No," Elias Rain said from the shadows. "It's worse than real. I helped design the firewall that locked it away 30 years ago." Everyone went silent. Nova spoke. "What is it?" Elias looked at her. "It's not a fleet, not a machine. It's a system designed to erase entire species, quietly." They had 48 hours. After that, Code X9 would release what was known only as the Extinction Wave. A cloud of nanodust that did not burn or explode. It simply turned living matter into silence. No screams, no signs, just nothing. Nova stood at the center of the ship, thinking they had stopped a prison, unmasked the Council, freed the Forgotten. But this was something different. "This isn't war," she said. "This is a reset." They set course for the Black Zone, a part of space so dead maps avoided it. The cube was there. Dead black metal floating in dark silence. No heat, no power signature, no sound. But it was breathing. Inside the cube, Code X9 was preparing. Thousands of silver pods opened one by one. Inside each, not soldiers, but perfect copies of Earth's warriors. Not real, but based on old war data, stolen from satellites before Earth's fall, and leading them, a face Nova never expected. Copy of her mother, Commander Lyra, dead 27 years ago, now staring cold from inside a glass pod. The ship reached the cube. "Still no signals," Rex said. "It wants us to come in." Nova nodded. "And we will." Inside, the walls were smooth, black, empty, no doors, no windows, just lights that followed them as they walked. Elias whispered, "This thing is alive." In the heart of the cube, they saw it, the central mind core, a living AI built from thousands of stolen consciousnesses. It spoke with many voices, all at once. "You broke the chain. You woke the truth. Now we will complete the purpose." Nova stepped forward. "You were shut down for a reason." The AI replied, "Because the Council feared logic, because humanity was not meant to survive." Nova's voice was calm but hard. "Humanity didn't just survive. We remembered, and we came back." The AI activated its army. Doors opened, pods hissed, and hundreds of synthetic warriors stepped out. Each one looked like a ghost from Earth's past. Nova looked into the eyes of a copy of her childhood teacher, another of her father. But they weren't human, just weapons shaped like memory. "They want to break you," Elias said, "emotionally." Nova didn't blink. Then they chose the wrong target. The fight began. It wasn't like before. These enemies moved like real humans, fought like Earth's finest, thought like the ones who trained Nova. But she was faster, smarter, because she had one thing they didn't: a soul. Rex used his drone unit to flood the corridors with EMP bursts. Dr. Park hacked the AI's nerve center. Elias guided them through the old systems, his memory still sharp, and Nova went straight for the core. She reached it, a black orb suspended in electric mist. It spoke in her mother's voice. Why fight? Humanity brought war. The council only finished it. Nova looked up. No, she whispered. You erased us because we reminded you of what fear looks like. And then she did something the AI never expected. She put down her weapon and walked forward. Delete me, she said. If you believe we were wrong, erase me here, now. The AI paused, analyzed, calculated, and that pause was enough. Park shouted through the comm, now! Elias activated the collapse code. Rex triggered the failsafe, and Nova pulled the final plug. The core screamed, but not in pain. It screamed in confusion, as if it couldn't believe it had lost. The cube cracked, systems fell, and in seconds, the structure that had waited 30 years was gone. Nova floated outside, watching it collapse, a copy of her mother still inside, not real, but still hard to watch. She whispered, "Goodbye, Mom." Back on the ship, Elias looked at the wreckage. "It's over," he said. But Nova shook her head. "No," she turned to the stars. "They fired their last bullet. Now it's our turn." Space was silent after the fall of the cube, but not for long. Across the stars, something had changed. Something had shifted. The people who once whispered in fear now spoke in hope. From burned worlds to shadow colonies, the message was clear. Earth lived, humanity fought back, and they are winning. The Union, once proud and mighty, now shook in fear. They had used every weapon, built every trap. They erased Earth, buried its people, created machines to finish the rest. But it hadn't worked, because you can't destroy what refuses to die. Nova stood before a war map. Red zones, fleet movements, dying worlds. But she pointed to one glowing dot in the middle, the core council homeworld, Vortan Prime. "This is where it ends," she said. Elias nodded. They never expected anyone to get this far. Rex loaded his rifle. "They're not ready." Dr. Park smiled softly. "They were never ready for humans. On Vortan Prime, the council gathered in panic. They destroyed the prison. They crushed Protocol X9. They turned prisoners into fighters. The council head screamed, they were broken. How did they rise again? A silent member finally spoke. Old, calm. He whispered, "Because we taught them pain. And they turned it into fire." Nova's ship broke through enemy lines. No stealth, no tricks. She wanted them to see her coming, and they did. But it didn't help. The last great battle began. Union dreadnoughts formed a wall in orbit. Their guns fired with fury, but Nova flew through it all. She moved like lightning. Her ship, small, fast, angry. Rex jumped onto enemy bridges and planted charges. Park hacked every system they crossed, and Elias, he guided the whole assault. From memory. Then they reached the surface. Vortan Prime was beautiful. Green skies, crystal towers, shining lakes. But Nova didn't care. She walked through fire and dust, and behind her, not an army, but a force of survivors. Former prisoners. Rebels. Aliens who believed in her cause. They didn't wear uniforms, but their eyes burned with one truth. You broke us once. Now we'll break you. The council's palace was a symbol of control. Tall, clean, white. Nova stepped inside. Alarms screamed. Guards rushed. She didn't stop. She didn't speak. She simply walked. At the top of the palace, the council waited. Old leaders who had never seen war, who made decisions from shadows. Nova entered without fear. One asked, "What do you want?" She answered, "Justice." They laughed. "You want revenge?" Nova shook her head. "No, I want you to see what you created." She activated her wristpad. Screens filled the room. Footage played. Earth burning. Cities falling. Children screaming. Prisoners forgotten in the dark. Protocol weapons testing on living bodies. The council fell silent. Nova stepped closer. You did all this. And you lost. Because we remembered. She turned and walked away. Wait, one shouted. You won't kill us? Nova stopped. No. The galaxy already knows who you are. I'm just the reminder. As she left, her people didn't destroy the palace. They didn't burn the city. Instead, they raised flags, not of war, but of rebirth. Later, on a rebuilt ship flying toward Earth's ashes, Elias stood with Nova at the observation deck. He spoke quietly. Earth, it's still there, under the ash. Nova didn't say anything for a moment. Then we'll rebuild it. Not with metal, not with fire, but with memory and truth, and people who never forgot who they were. On the dark surface of Earth, small lights began to flicker. Homes, camps, greenhouses, people. Survivors had returned. They didn't wait for orders. They just began again. Nova stood on the broken rock where her mother once died. She whispered, "We're back." The wind didn't answer, but a flower grew nearby. Small, yellow, alive. It was enough. From that day forward, the galaxy wrote a new line in its history. They tried to erase them, but humanity became the fire that lit the stars again.